Welcome back to the channel. This will be the new top 10 figures in the collection countdown video. It's a top 10 featuring stock figures, kit bashed figures, possibly custom figures, or just regular figures that have had a little bit of work done to them to improve them slightly. Could be anything that's 1/6 scale could be in this top 10. Thanks for getting involved in the last video and sharing your thoughts on what could be possibly number one. We'll have to wait and see. Try not to skip ahead and ruin it for yourself. Try and enjoy the whole thing. We'll come back to it and watch it in 2 halves if you need to. It might be a long one. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for getting involved, guys. Let's start, obviously, at number 10. At number 10, it's my Sideshow Collectibles custom kit bash Catwoman figure. Now, I've been building on this for a good few years now, really, just adding little pieces here and there, tweaking things, switching out bodies. Originally, it was the Sideshow Collectibles Catwoman. The body is awful and it breaks very easily. Mine braked while I was just holding it in my hand. That actually happened live on video, and I was holding it in my hand and the leg just went, I wasn't even moving the leg, I was just holding it and it broke. It's that fragile. You can actually see that on the channel if you dig deep. But here she is. She has to go in the top 10 because I love this. This tides me over until, hopefully, fingers crossed, but very doubtful, one day Hot Toys might bring us a 1/6 scale Arkham City Catwoman. That's my favorite Catwoman. That Catwoman inspired this. And the fire scene body is awesome. It's a pale skin, large bust body, metal skeleton inside. It can hold any pose, can do anything. It looks fantastic. Her breasticles do stop the zip from, zipping up. So that is a side effect or a little drawback of getting the large bust version. I might have to try a medium bust someday. Doubtful. She looks good. She looks damn good. I love her. She's my kitten. Anyway, she's at number 10, and rightly so. She could even be higher because the poses you can pull off with this, it's endless. The fire scene body lets you do anything you want. You could have her laying down. The cheeky Deadpool pose where he's lying by a fireplace and he's kind of resting his head on his hand and he's looking all sort of seduction-y. Well, Catwoman can do that because of this fire scene body. It will cost you a bit if you do want to try and do something like this. Obviously, you're going to need the Sideshow Collectibles Catwoman so that you can use the head sculpt and the suit, because that's what I've used. Basically, the head sculpt is Sideshow, goggles are Sideshow, the outfit is Sideshow, the sort of gauntlet things and gloves. The boots I found on eBay, they're different. And the belt is Sideshow Collectibles, and she's got the whip on the side as well. So you'd have to get the Sideshow Collectibles Catwoman and then get yourself a fire scene body to make everything hunky-dory. But there she is, absolute stunning masterpiece. I'm very proud of her. Redone the makeup, added hair, redone the lips, all of it. Absolutely stunning piece. Number 10, my Catwoman. At number 9, we have the Cool Models Werewolf 1/6 scale masterpiece. This is a fantastic figure, and I don't think many people have it in their collections, but I'm a massive werewolf fan, always have been. Grew up in the 80s. We had some great werewolf films around that sort of time. Some cool ones later on, like Dog Soldiers, came along and really sort of saved the day when it came to werewolf films. This is just a fantastic dream come true for me. I love the head sculpt, the vicious look in his eyes, the teeth, his 2 front fangs, they're a little bit thick for my liking. I wish they were a little bit more sharp looking. Often wondered if maybe there was a way that I could customize that, but I don't want to risk it. I've also contemplated sometimes adding some blood spray with a toothbrush and some red paint. Just get some sort of flicks of blood on him. It's very clean. The base is fantastic. I'm using a dynamic stand Hot Toys base that's Sven, that's Ezerez on YouTube, who gave me this as a gift. Comes in very handy, and I only use it with this figure because it's the only one really that I can pull off the look that I want with this. I want him kind of leaping out of the forest, coming at you, claws drawn, ready to tear some flesh. But look at that thing, man. Look at the venom in that face. And he also can transform into a human form as well. I'm not showing you that right now. You have to check out the review. There's full reviews for everything I'm showing you, plus unboxings and all that usual stuff. The unboxing for this guy was particularly fun because I was very surprised by the cool stuff that came with him, like the background. Background comes with the werewolf, and I use this very handy for a lot of figures when I'm doing photography, especially the NECA horror figure stuff. Very handy. and it had a fantastic box as well. So the cool model Werewolf at number 9. He was in the top 10 last time, and he'll probably be in every one that I ever do, because I do love it. At number 8, we have the newly released Black Panther Civil War version 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys. Now, I know some of you are going to be thinking he's only in the top 10 because he's a new figure and I've got that new figure buzz about me. I honestly think this would, he'd be in the top 10 in a month from now, 2 months from now. It's just a really simplistic piece. It doesn't come with hardly any accessories. You get the base, a couple of extra hands, and the box it comes in. There really isn't much to play with apart from the figure itself, but it's done so well. Let me just get some focus happening here. I will change the pose before I finish this little section. I'm leaving him in the pose that I showed you last time. A lot of people seem to like this one. It's something that's not going to put any stress on the suit, but still makes him look very, animal-like. He's about to pounce. Looks good from any angle. It's just a really, really well done figure, and I'm very glad to have it. I'm still feeling that excitement. It hasn't worn off yet, so I'll be curious to see how long this figure stays in my very good books, basically. There are some figures, I'll talk about some of the other figures that you might expect to see in this top 10 that didn't actually make it, and I will, once I've unveiled number 1, I will do kind of like some honorable mentions of figures that maybe could have been in the top 10, but for reasons I'll tell you at the end, didn't. Here's Black Panther. Really, really love this one. Looking forward to the solo film. Highly recommend this figure. Don't pay attention to the folks saying that his thighs look too big for the body. I don't know where that's coming from. The thighs are perfectly in proportion to the rest of him. And there he is, number 8, Black Panther. An absolute badass. I almost forgot I did promise you a second pose because I hadn't changed the pose from last time. So here's a little shot of him running. And you could leave him like this on display. You can do these kind of things and not worry about any damage to the suit. From what I can tell, it seems like a very durable, very well made outfit for him. And there's your second pose. Coming at you to claw some face. Blitzway's Fight Club Tyler Durden Red Jacket version comes in at number 7. This is one of those figures that I didn't think we'd ever see. It's kind of like a situation with Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, one of my favorite films of all time, but I'm still doubtful that we'll ever see a official release Taxi Driver figure, even though it's something that lends itself very well to a very deluxe set. I know I should be talking about Fight Club right now, but there's 2 very distinct looks for Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, the before and after the switch flicks, and he goes mohawk and does what he does. I just think it lends itself very well to something that could be done as a 2-pack. Blitzway, I'd like to see them do Taxi Driver rather than anyone else. I love this figure. I love the movie. Just really cool. I was going to try and find some extreme pose for you, but it's Tyler Durden. He just stands there and he looks badass, so that's what I've gone with. Yep, I do love it. My eye keeps going to it because I just like the contrast between the kind of tracksuit bottoms, the leather jacket, the shirt. None of it would make sense on many people, but for some reason Tyler Durden / Brad Pitt is able to pull it off pretty damn well. Just a fantastic piece. Really glad to have it, and very happy that something like this finally was made. I mean, look at that. Any angle. Oh, and I do also want to mention, I'm really sorry guys, but I can't find my rotating base. Since I moved house, I just can't find it. I know I packed it away safe. There are still some boxes that need to be unpacked, but I was damn sure that I'd gone through all of the boxes that had my stuff in it. I tried for the last 2 days, actually delayed this video a little bit because I was trying to find that rotating base, because obviously something like this, you want it to be turning while you're talking about it, so I do apologize next time guys. But look at that. Blitzway's Tyler Durden, number 7. At number 6, we have the good old DX11 Joker, the Dark Knight version, Heath Ledger. It's an absolute masterpiece, this one. A big reason why it's in the top 10 is the fun factor and the amount of things you get with it. Talked about it before. You get a big diorama of the interrogation room, table, chairs, a second head sculpt where he's laughing manically, and all the goodies you'd want, the guns, the knives, everything else. Even comes with handcuffs. They're the ones you saw on Catwoman at number 10. I just love this piece. I have a feeling it will be not replaced, that's a harsh word, but someday and I think there is actually by a different company a 1/6 scale Heath Ledger Joker coming that some of us have seen online. It's got rooted hair, and it comes with like a base that's like a concrete sort of road from the scene where he's saying "Hit me" to Batman, where he's coming at him on the Batpod. Very tempted by that. Don't know how much it's going to be. Always wanted a decent Joker Heath Ledger with rooted hair. Maybe Hot Toys will do it in the coming sort of months, years. Maybe 2017 will be the rooted hair Joker year. Who knows? But it's a fantastic piece. Look at that head sculpt. I haven't done anything to that. He's just sort of wet looking under the eyes naturally. That's Hot Toys paint job. Absolutely stunning. So there he is in another top 10. He always manages to worm his way in. The DX11 Joker. At number 5, we have the Rogue One Darth Vader by Hot Toys. Now, this is something that I just keep looking at. I've had it for about a month and a bit. It still hasn't been released at this point everywhere. It's kind of a situation where it's about to be released through Sideshow Collectibles and other retailers. I got mine nice and early from Hong Kong through Anthony Sang. It's just, look at it, it's amazing. I've been watching a lot of comparison videos that have been popping up recently on YouTube from people who have various Sideshow Collectible versions of Darth Vader and the New Hope by Hot Toys, and now this. And two that I've watched so far, they've both in the end decided that they prefer this one out of all of them. Now, it's just a matter of proportions really. The helmet is nigh on perfect, and this time he comes with fully sculpted hands / gloves. The belt lights up, but the chest piece doesn't. The tunic has pleats in it. When you get the figure, the tunic is under the armor. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be over the top. But that's an easy fix. There's a video on that on the channel. You can check that out, as well as the review and everything else. It's just a flawless Darth Vader figure. The only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit, like I've said before, is how the lightsaber doesn't look that fantastic, but he does have one in the end. A lot of people comment all the time wanting confirmation of whether this one does come with a lightsaber, and indeed it does. I've kind of gone for a pose from one of the most badass Vader scenes in any Star Wars film ever, when he's coming through the corridor in Rogue One and he's holding that guy up with the Force behind him and he's about to slash him in half with the lightsaber, holding up his fist as he walks. Badass. I just, I can't stress enough how amazing that scene was. Definitely the best Vader scene of all time, even though I think Empire Strikes Back still is the #1 Star Wars film. But there he is, Rogue One Darth Vader. Anyone who's on the fence or wondering whether they should or shouldn't, you should. It's an absolute stunner. Any angle, just looks totally awesome. At number 4, it's the Nightmare Batman by Hot Toys from the Nightmare sequence, or the Future Vision sequence, whatever you want to call it, from Batman vs Superman. I do realize I've still got him in the same pose. I did tell you guys a while back that I didn't intend to ever change this pose because I found the pose that I love, and I'm happy with it. I never feel the urge, as easy as it is, to pose this guy and leave him in extreme poses with no worry of any damage because of how brilliantly it was all designed. I just can't bring myself to change this pose because I love it so much. Any angle looks absolutely awesome. Now, I have repainted the coat. There are videos on that on the channel. However, I didn't actually do a final video on the final layer of paint that I actually did go in and kind of redo the whole thing since that last update. But it's really nice. The light is shining on it right now, so it looks kind of shiny, but it's not like that in person. It's bloody gorgeous, and I'm so happy I did it. He just looks like he's been through hell. You can see all the sort of darker tones mixed in. See all that? I absolutely love it. But yeah, number 4, the Nightmare Batman. You can pose this guy however you want. Because his actual batsuit only comes down to here, you can bend that elbow. You can bend the elbow and never have to worry about the suit, taking any damage. Such a fun figure because you can do what you want with it and leave him that way long term with no fear of damage. Absolute home run. Could have been higher up in the top 10, gotta be honest. Could easily be up there at number 1, number 2. It's a tough decision, but the Nightmare Batman, number 4, absolutely love it. Well, if you remember the last 1/6 scale top 10 figure countdown, you'll know that this guy came in very, very high up. I'm not going to say exactly where because you never know, you might want to watch that and not have it spoiled for you. Do check out the old top 10, that's going to be an entertaining one as well. But this time he comes in at number 3 and he could easily be higher up because this is one of those flawless pieces. Kind of part die cast, part plastic. Absolutely killer likeness to Peter Weller, even though you can only see his mouth. It's right out of the film, shrunk down RoboCop, 12 inches high. Right out of the screen. It's crazy. I love it. There is a battle damage version and a version of Murphy as well before he gets horribly shot to bits. It still gives me the willies when I see that scene. That was one of the first things I ever saw that freaked me out when I was a kid. I think I was about 7 years old when I first saw RoboCop, and I was around a friend's house and he had the kind of parents that didn't care. They just let him watch whatever. He turned out a little bit messed up in the end, so lesson learned. But what a fantastic piece. I've got him in that kind of pose that he does when he kind of shoots his gun. He sticks his other arm out and his hand comes out like that. I love this piece. This year's number 3, RoboCop. At number 2, it's Deadpool. And I guess that means you know what's going to be number 1. But Deadpool is a fantastic figure. I went through a bit of a crappy time with this guy. I had a batch 1 Deadpool when it was first released from Hong Kong. Bad situation with the wrists taking damage. And then I got a replacement from batch 2 in the end, thanks to Anthony Sang again. And they completely fixed the wrist situation, came up with a great solution. More about that in previous videos, you can check that out. But Deadpool is one of those, do you know what, the reason he might not make it to number 1 for me is because I've discovered some things with the mass proportion of his body. Someone released a picture of some custom work they'd done. They added a bit more bulk to his shoulders and just his torso really. They just added a little bit more to it and you could really see that it made all the difference and made him look a hell of a lot more screen accurate. There's nothing really to complain about. But once you see that fix that someone's done to make him just a little bit bigger proportion-wise on the torso, it also makes his neck look a little bit shorter, and that really done wonders. But I still love the figure. I don't feel tempted to do any custom work on it myself. Very poseable, however, I don't know if I fully trust leaving him in extreme poses, like with the elbow all the way bent, stuff like that. The suit is very well done, but it's still the same suit that I had from batch 1, it's just they fixed the wrist situation. But I saw how easy it was to damage this suit firsthand, so I do worry slightly about leaving him long term in extreme poses. But you can do, whatever you want. A fantastic looking figure though, very, very, jumps right out of the screen and becomes a figure in front of you. I mean, the fact that there's no human features showing, he looks very realistic, very much like he just leaped out of the screen and slapped you across the face with his dick. That's the kind of thing Deadpool does. He's at number 2, so you know who's at number 1. And there he is at number 1. Well, duh, it's the BVS Ben Affleck Batman, a regular suit, Batman vs Superman figure by Hot Toys. Now, the reason he is number 1, obviously, other than the fact that he is a very well made, very screen accurate, badass looking piece, I keep tweaking the pose. That's always a sign that I love the figure. If every day I just go over to it, whether I know it or not, I walk over to it and just do a little tweak, whether it's slightly bending the arm and then realizing that I need to futz with it to get the wrinkle out of the elbow there, sticking that belly out, trying to get him to look a bit more sort of chunky. Great mass. He has a very amusing bat butt, as you can see there. That's the one thing about him that is a little bit weird, but you're not going to see it obviously because he's got a cape there. Speaking of capes, this is a custom cape by Unreal Toys. There's videos all over the channel on that. He's a fantastic looking piece. It turns out Lucky, the guy who makes these capes, was very grateful and appreciated the videos that I did on this cape. So it turns out I will have a wired cape coming in the future, very near future. I think it's early February. I will be getting a wired version of this cape and I will be bringing you all kinds of videos on that. The likeness to Ben Affleck is fantastic. You can see the stubble, the look in his eyes, absolutely awesome. Just very cleverly done. The suit could be more grey instead of this kind of charcoal dark grey that it is. It's not a deal breaker, but it is darker than it should be. But however, the way they've managed to do this and the way this muscle suit kind of moves when you turn him to make him look like he's throwing a batarang or something like that, it's just a figure I love. Don't know what else to tell you guys. It's a really, really top quality figure, probably the best figure of 2016 from Hot Toys. Deadpool, now that he's all fixed, is a very high contender as well. Just really, really love this one, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Do you agree with him being number one? I'm now going to do a little section on the figures that maybe could have been in this top 10 but didn't make it for the reasons I'll tell you about now. But there he is, Ben Affleck Batman, Batman vs Superman with the Unreal Toys custom cape, number one. Now here is one of the figures that could have very well made it into the top 10 but didn't, and here is the reason why. Chewbacca from A New Hope is a fantastic piece, an absolute mind-boggler as in how they managed to pull this off. But the thing is, this is one of the only real poses that I ever seem to put him in, and he's not a fun figure. That's a big factor into what makes it into my top 10. Is it fun to go back to every other day and tweak the pose and move it around? And the answer is not really, because every time you do move the arms, you have to readjust the hair and make it look like it's falling naturally. And this is the only pose that kind of suits him, to be honest. I've tried other poses, making it look like he's kind of walking forwards. If you put the blaster down by his side in his hand and just kind of make him stand there museum pose style, he looks kind of goofy. Plus the fact that Hot Toys didn't really nail the Chewbacca face very well. Obviously that all comes down to how you comb it, but no matter what you do, you can't get around the fact that this middle section here, the hair in the film kind of goes off naturally in different directions, and it's just not been executed that perfectly on this occasion. However, I'm not bitching about the figure. It is an absolute excellent piece. I mean, I do love this. I'm very happy to have him, but a big factor, like I say, is it fun to work with? And the answer for that would be no, honestly. But again, very happy to have Chewbacca, but he couldn't make it into the top 10, not with the other kind of figures that I've got lurking about beside him. They just can do all kinds of things, and this guy, I find this is the only real way that I ever display him. I tend to just leave him alone, and that's not a whole lot of fun. I like to have a figure that I can keep going back to, keep having fun, keep taking pictures, change up the pose. And with this guy, I just tend to stay away from him because I don't really want to touch him. It's as simple as that. There he is, Chewbacca. Alright, so we'll pop Mr. Number One back in his place. Have to tweak him, sort out his pose later on, fix his cape and such. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Something I forgot to mention before, I keep hearing people say on the YouTube videos now that you have to press the bell icon that's in the top sort of right hand corner of the channel of the person you're watching in order to get notifications of their new videos that go up. So in case you haven't done that, go ahead and click that bell button. That way you'll get an email whenever I upload something new. Thanks for all your support and all your comments and getting involved on the last video, preparing for this one. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the love, and I will bring you some more videos soon. Maybe I've got enough 1/4 scale pieces now to maybe do a top 5 1/4 scale figure countdown, or maybe even I've got enough statues to do a top 5 or a top 10 statue countdown. Or maybe even a NECA figure countdown, but like I've said before, my NECA videos don't really go down too well with people. I don't know why, they just don't do very well. So I hope you've enjoyed this top 10, and I'll be back with you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.